Hello students, and welcome back to your online class of English language. We'll begin with the syllabus that we have for your second semester, and that is we are left with composition writing, letter writing, and notice and email writing. So we'll begin with composition writing. So we'll start with today with one topic, but before we head into the topic, let's see what are the kinds of compositions. Okay, types of composition that we have in our language. The first one is narrative. Okay, we have descriptive, we have argumentative, which is full of opinions. Then we have story writing, and we have reflective, or also known as imaginative composition. The last one that we have is picture composition, that we haven't practiced yet, or we don't attempt much. So but if you are interested trying it out, you can try yourself. Okay, so today we'll discuss the first kind of composition, that is narrative composition. The elements that you find in a narrative composition, or that you need to keep in mind when you are writing a narrative composition, is you need to analyze the topic. Okay, understanding the subject is very important in narrative composition. We have to gather details about the topic. We have to decide the mood, whether you want to be surprising, you want to be humorous, you want to be fearful, fearless. So these are the moods that you need to decide in for your narrative composition. Then you have detail the sense, like what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, what you feel. These are the topics that you're going to analyze in your narrative composition. Then you have to organize your narration in a chronological order, like as it happened, exciting moment first. So in that order you have to frame your paragraphs, and then you have to complete your composition. In organizing your narrative composition, you also need to see the settings, like where and when happened the incident, so that you need to focus on. Characters, like who, specific behavior, nature of people. So these are the things that you're going to see in narrative composition. You also need to keep in mind the plot. Okay, series of events, problems, conflicts, suspense, climax. Okay, like the turning point. Okay, so solution of the conflict, conclusion. So these are the plots you need to keep in mind when you are organizing your narrative composition. Then after you have done with this, you need to write a rough draft about your narrative composition. Like first thing first is your introduction. You know that the topic of the sentence, you need to elaborate and explain to us. The introduction is the first paragraph, so where you need to express, or you're going to give us more detail about the topic. Then you have to be like, first section is as who was involved, you need to mention that. Then why did it happen, settings of what, when and where, and how did it happen, and climax and interesting development you need to bring in your composition. Then you have to edit. Whatever is wanted or required, you will include that. What is not required, we will exclude that, because we don't want to make it lengthy, okay, or repetitive. So up to the topic, okay, not exaggerating much about it. So you have to edit in narratives, you have to keep your content in your mind. Accuracy of grammar and spelling is very important. There has to be logical narration, and effectiveness and style you have to keep in mind. Okay. Then these are the things, the elements of narrative composition. What you shouldn't be doing in your narrative composition, the don'ts. So don't choose a narrative composition if you don't have some background information about the topic of the narration. Okay, if you don't have any information or idea about the topic, you shouldn't attempt that. Don't write your long descriptive paragraphs. The reader will lose interest in the narrative writing when they are reading your composition. Don't tell the nature and attitude of the characters. Let their actions and dialogues and expression bring out their personality. and ensure to keep your beginning and ending interesting. The beginning should arouse the reader's curiosity. The ending should not feel as if you have stopped writing due to the lack of time or because you did not know how to carry it further. So it should not be, it should be flawless. It should be smooth and flawless. Okay. Now these are some of the tips for solving the narrative composition. Before you choose to attempt the narrative composition, analyze all the aspects of the questions. You need to go through once all the types of composition that you have in your question paper. Then answer them to check if you have the background information and knowledge to address all of them. Okay, only if you have idea about it or concept about it, or if you have any information about the topic, then you go further with the composition. The beginning must be impressive and engaging. It may be through some action or with unusual details. That brings a very interesting point for the readers to read the composition. Take care of the specific time, place and other settings of the narrative. Your personal touch, like your opinion, comments and stress on the points you want the reader to register, will be the highlight of the narrative. Visualize what you have to narrate and tell your story creatively. Ensure to describe the specific people, places and necessary objects clearly to capture the interest of the reader. Remember, a narrative is different from a story as it reflects your feelings and opinions, okay, and has some points to make. To make the ending more interesting, introduce a surprise or an unexpected element. Then remember to use a nice method, or in a nice way you have to divide your paragraph based on the topic. Okay, so one paragraph is for one topic, then you move to another paragraph when you want to write about another topic. Okay. Now there are also types of narrative composition, like biographies is one, talking about accidents or incidents is another, talking about historical events or legends is another, and talking about journeys, voyages or visits is another narrative compositions that you'll find in your questions of narrative composition. Now today as we have discussed about narrative composition, based on this I'll be giving you one question, and which is a solved question, and you're going to write down that composition, narrative composition, in your language copy. It will be a practice for you, revision for you, and also just giving a general tips about what is a narrative composition and how you need to solve your composition if you're opting for narrative composition. Okay, so always follow this key points like collecting ideas, organizing ideas, writing a rough draft, editing and writing the final answer whenever you are writing any kind of composition. So that is very basic when you're writing a composition. So here it is, one composition. I'm sending you a question and a solved composition actually. So you write down in your language copy. Okay, and then after that I'll be giving you 2 to 3 more questions based on narrative composition, which you will do it yourself. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.